What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about Karens, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. Hope you're all doing awesome, and as usual, we'll be checking out some more Reddit posts today. So feel free to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. Strangers have been using my patio for the last few months. I'm speechless. For context, I live in a slightly odd apartment complex that's literally right next to a hospital. Our driveway and the hospital driveway are less than 5 inches apart. The units are all ground level and have patios in the front, sectioned off by fences. My unit is the closest to the parking lot as well as the street, and has one of the largest patios. They are technically converted medical offices, but it's pretty clear that they're currently apartments. Like I have well-loved furniture and fairy lights on my patio. I've been doing a 7-day week for the last few months, getting up early and coming home late. I finally quit my job and have been spending more time at home. Imagine my surprise when I was woken up on Saturday to voices outside my unit. They sounded weirdly close and fairly loud. I was going to ignore it, but it was 9 a.m. and I'd wanted to sleep longer. Went outside to check it out, and there were 2 women sitting at my outdoor dining set, coffee in hand, yapping it up. Bro. After asking them what the ever-loving f*** they thought they were doing, it turns out they've been doing this for at least 2 months while their friend is in the hospital. They claimed they didn't know this wasn't part of the hospital. One of the women at least had the decency to seem apologetic, but still, you're full-ass trespassing. It could not be more clear this is a residential area. Been internally screaming the entire week since I found out, but just need to vent into the void while I process. It feels so freaking violating. In my county, trespassing is treated pretty severely regardless of intent. So yes, entering private property uninvited is trespassing. I'll be installing cameras, and I've contacted my property manager. She said she'll be bringing this concern to the city. I've just spent 6 months only going to my apartment to sleep. College plus hour changes at work meant I was basically gone from 6 or 7 a.m. to 9 or 10 at night each day of the week, minus Sundays when I'd be able to get home at 4. Assuming these 2 had been doing morning coffee at 8 a.m. or later, I would have missed them. Going to HR after my coworker stole my cane. Before we get into the big issue, I wanted to get into an incident that happened at work before this. It occurred on Father's Day. Offending coworker, we'll call him D, was having a conversation with another coworker with occasional butting in from other coworkers. I spoke up at one point and joked that he'd been talking for so long that he should take a breath so he doesn't pass out. His immediate reaction was to tell me that the conversation was between real men, fathers, not me. I didn't report it. I know, stupid. But I thought I could just make the move of no longer engaging with him and going about my job. This changed a few days ago. Due to a past injury, my ankle will flare up with pain occasionally when standing that I alleviate by using a cane. I keep it in the same spot every day so that I know where it is and don't forget it when I leave after a particularly hard day at work. I was in the back of the kitchen during a slow day. I come back to the front to find D using my cane, pretending to limp in a mockery of me to my other coworkers. I took it out of his hands, told them not to touch my stuff, and have since approached HR. Certain people above me have been made aware and have told me that I have completely overreacted, or I'm looking to cause problems to get D fired. Did I overreact? Am I the asshole? I mean, I don't think OP was really wrong at all for wanting to take it to HR. First off, you don't just take something that someone else needs for a health issue or a mobility issue and treat it like a toy. And on top of that, he was using it to mock OP. To mock an injury. It's obvious this guy stopped maturing in 7th grade. So if OP's question is whether it was an overreaction for taking it to HR, then I'd say no. Hire her no matter what. As you wish. I am part of a small hiring team at my workplace, and I take my position very seriously. Some time ago, we were looking to fill a key role that required someone sharp, organized, and ready to work under pressure. We had a solid shortlist after several interviews, and then my department supervisor pulled me aside. He told me flat out to hire one candidate in particular. Not because she was the best fit, but because he wanted me to. I later heard through office rumors that she was an almost girlfriend, basically someone he had a thing for and was trying to impress. He said I should just make it work and he will take the heat if needed. I refused at first, showing him her results of the interview. She was one of the least ranked. She was late to the interview, vague answers, couldn't explain basic industry terms, but he wouldn't listen and said it was a direct order. So I did exactly what he asked. I hired her, gave her all the support I could, even offered extra onboarding help. Within a month, she accidentally sent a confidential client file to the wrong company. Then she once approved a purchase order for 10 times the budgeted amount because she obviously didn't think through all those numbers. It was from one wrong to another. We lost a major client over the email slip. Another pulled back on their contract due to delays on her end. When upper management started asking questions, my manager tried to dodge responsibility, but HR already had the hiring records. I made sure all the instructions, including his, were documented, which was intentional in case a situation like this came up, and it did. He was reassigned within the quarter. She quietly disappeared not long after. Turns out hiring your crush isn't as cute when the company starts bleeding money. Is this really grievous bodily harm if the person drank the drink without permission and of their own free will? New South Wales, Australia. This will come off as strange, yet some people are wanting to sue me for grievous bodily harm. My aunt's criminal stepson, who's like 20-something, older than me, broke into my car and stole stuff. I was going to get him arrested for it, yet his mother and my aunt's husband begged me not to tell, mainly because their son has mental problems due to taking heavy drugs. His parents gave me money and paid for repairs to my car. Then their son became hostile towards me because they think I shouldn't have taken his parents' money, yet he wasn't going to pay for the damages. A few weeks later, I noticed food and drinks were going missing. First, I thought it was me, yet it started getting worse and I found footprints around the house. I reported it to the police, who did nothing, so I got a cheap camera. Lo and behold, my aunt's mentally disturbed stepson was breaking into my flat and basically hanging out for hours, eating my food, and so on. It was reported to the police with the video and he was arrested, but his parents bailed him out. Then he started breaking in again immediately. He was then forced into counseling and required to do community service work for a few months only. Recently, I got some chocolate laxatives and dishwash liquid, then mixed them up into a milk drink, leaving it in the fridge. A few days later, the drink went missing, and the son went to the hospital with vomiting and diarrhea. He told his parents I poisoned him, yet the drink was in my flat in my fridge, while I never offered or gave him the drink, nor knew he would drink it. The mother now wants to sue me for grievous bodily harm. And a commenter here says, ex-cop, New South Wales, Australia. She will have a fantastic case for recovering medical costs if he has any. In New South Wales, it's a crime to knowingly place harmful objects where you know a person will come into contact with them with the intent of injuring, which is what you did. However, I'm no lawyer and I don't know much more than the average Joe about civil matters in New South Wales. However, what you did was place a caustic substance in a drink meant for your cousin. Even though he was there unlawfully, you've got a good chance of being charged if he takes it to the police. If the police call, don't say a single word to them about the incident. They will seem like they're on your side, but trust me, they are not. They'll say, you're not in trouble, we just want to get the facts so we can straighten the issue out and move on. Intent to cause grievous bodily harm carries up to 25 years in New South Wales. Take it very bloody seriously if the Rozzers come knocking. That comment really does put things into perspective on how serious OP should be taking this. This comment here also explains it like this. You can't booby trap your house against thieves you don't know, so it's really no better to booby trap a thief you definitely know. Look at it this way. I don't have any particular reason to believe anyone is breaking into my house right now or ever will in the future. But let's say I rig a shotgun to shoot anyone who comes in the back door, which I will never use and therefore will probably never shoot anyone. That is obviously a booby trap, and a lethal one at that. Does it make it any better that I know a particular asshole relative of mine comes in my back door when I'm not around? It makes it worse, because that amounts to an intention to kill that relative. Same penalty for being 6 minutes late as for being 3 hours late? Okay, boss. I have always been the kind of person to arrive at work and events early. I hate the stress of running late, so I always allow more than enough travel time on my commute to avoid lateness. I always stopped for a coffee first thing on my morning commute to work. It was a half-hour drive to work on the highway, so I like to sip my coffee and listen to tunes to relax before work. Even though it's only a half-hour commute, I would leave for work an hour before my start time just in case there were any unexpected delays. One particular day, there's a massive jam on the highway. Now normally, I get to work 20 to 30 minutes early because of the extra travel time, but this traffic jam was bad enough that it still made me 6 minutes late for work. Supervisor starts giving me crap for coming in late but having a coffee, publicly calling me out in front of the other employees. Hey everyone, look at OP. His morning coffee is more important to him than respecting his coworkers. No amount of I bought the coffee before I knew there was a traffic jam would get him to stop hassling me. He wrote me up for being late. Now, my company had a policy that less than 5 minutes late is okay, but 5+ minutes late means a potential write-up. Doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds or 2 hours late, the punishment was the same. However, supervisors were given leeway on this and were encouraged not to penalize people unless they were consistently late. I was almost never late, almost always early, but my supervisor decided to punish me anyway. So fast forward a couple of weeks, another delay, and looks like I'm going to arrive at work about 15 minutes late. So knowing that I'm going to get written up no matter what, I pulled off the highway, found a nice little restaurant, and had a leisurely 2-hour breakfast. Showed up at work 2.5 hours late, and got the same write-up I would have done if I had been 15 minutes late, but at least I also got to relax and eat bacon. I still showed up at work early 99% of the time, but every now and then there might be a delay that would mean I'd be 6 minutes late or 10 or 15. Rather than take the penalty for a lousy couple of minutes, each time I'd extend the late time a couple of hours and have a nice relaxing breakfast. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.